I can just imagine your face right now as you get this message. That same look where you unconsciously clench your teeth out of stress, making those whining lips of yours to look more perched than they need to be. It really does astound me how ridiculously predictable you are sometimes. But I guess old habits just never die, do they? But I digress. I like seeing you that way, stress and all. It happens to be one of the things that puts an ever-slight warm feeling of ease in my black, wretched heart, as I hear a certain someone likes to call it these days. And that's just when you choose to acknowledge my existence. Ever since I left, you've been doing all you can to convince everyone that I don't even exist, even going so far to make sure that no one ever mentions my name again. Tell me, do I irk you that bad? Do you despise me so much that you figure the only way to hurt me, or more like put an insignificant dent on me, was to absolutely discard the time that we had together? Even though we both know that I was your first. Let me be extra clear on that. I was first. You can go spread whatever bullshit about me that you like, but I will not stand in the second place to that pansy of a wife of yours. I will never understand why so many people would be so foolish to even consider her as the first. Her. A weak-willed, mindless footstool whose only purpose for being relevant was literally so you wouldn't be left fucking a goat. All of this happening after I left you, of course. And it's really funny because you were so determined of getting me back when I'd left. You just couldn't stand me saying no to you. You couldn't accept that I wasn't willing to be at your every beck and call. Hell, you even got 3 of your father's buddies to force me to come back to you, as if you owned me. Like I was some property that you could claim any time you wished. But even then, I still refused to come back. I didn't want you, and I didn't want anything to do with you. By that time, I was already quite popular with my new friends, so there was no longer a need to be with you anyway. And even though my friends were of a different kind, I can reassure you that each of them were more of a man than you'll ever be. Unlike you, they knew how to treat a woman. In fact, they were the first to ever treat me like a woman. They too were outcasts that refused to go along with the status quo, and with that, we bonded with deep intimacy on levels you will never understand. I was different then, but I was becoming one of them soon enough. We were prepared to be our own family. But your brute father and his 3 bastards weren't willing to accept that either. So they presented me with a choice. Return to your side as your wife, or watch my children die. Every single day. That was the moment. That had to be the exact moment where every bit of mercy that I had left for your pitiful being had vanished. All of these men constantly telling me what to do. I couldn't handle it any longer. The enraging hatred that I had for you, for anyone that felt they could exert their control over me, had consumed me like a roaring flame. It was to the point that I descended into violent fits like that of a madman. I screamed at the top of my lungs, telling the 3 of them to go fuck themselves. I cursed your father. I cursed his name in great defiance, knowing all too well he took your side, even though I was practically his daughter. I vowed that your children would have no peace for as long as I roamed the nights, so long as your putrid blood ran through their veins. I would be there waiting to claim their lives, and if that meant the 100 of my own children falling to their deaths every day, then so be it. Besides, it ended up not being that much of a big problem after all. Not at the rate I was working. And I have you to thank for that, actually. You see, because you foolishly covered up my existence from everyone. Or tried to, I might say. Most of your children never know to defend themselves, even when I'm standing right in front of them. Your daughters would never know I was the reason for their miscarriages, or the silent deaths of their humble babies. They would never know I was there laughing in delight as they cry their eyes out over their children's graves. Your sons would never know that I would disguise myself as the woman of their dreams, making them fall head over heels for me and giving me all of their pathetic love, only to drive them to insanity or take their own lives in response to me, rejecting them ever so coldly. With quite ease, I might add. All the while, they would give their bodies to me out of their deepest affection, and I would use them and continue giving birth to thousands of my own children who would follow in my suit. Sometimes I don't even have to come to them physically to get what I want. With the amount of wet dreams your sons have, I'm practically giving birth to a whole army. A few losses don't even faze me anymore. I just want you to get the clear picture of how inevitable you've made this to be. Because if you really think about it, this is all your fault. If you would have just treated me as your equal instead of some subservient dog, I would have never turned out like this. Your children would have never suffered a day in their lives. Your whole kind would have never been damned. You and your wife would have never eaten the forbidden fruit. Your wife would have never come. And we still would have been together. But you broke that. You broke that for everyone. That's why I can't give you any hopes of my work ending here. Oh, no. You've thought too kind of me if you didn't think that I have another card waiting up my sleeve to dash out. All of your children have to die with you. None of them can be left behind. All of your traces have to be removed. I will not cease until I have each and every one of their skulls rotting in my clutches. I will paint this whole fucking world with their blood if I have to. As they cry, scream and beg for mercy, I'll simply tell them that you were the reason for their bloodshed. You were the reason for their fall. I'll tell them you foolishly managed to seal their fate before they were even born. Do you understand how much of a serious mistake it was to cross me? Because I can definitely tell you that everyone going down was always the plan, even since the beginning. I mean, how do you think that snake got into the garden in the first place? How do you think it knew to trick your wife, a newcomer of the garden, into eating the forbidden fruit first instead of you? How do you think it knew precisely what would happen if both of you ate that fruit? Who exactly did you think that snake was? Did you seriously think I was just gonna idly sit by and let you live out your happy ending unscathed? Now, what type of story would that be? But don't you worry. I have no intention of letting the story go to waste. None of us do. And with the ending that we have in store for your children, we're gonna go out with a huge bang. We're all excited, especially my beloved. I probably should have mentioned him earlier when I was talking about my group of friends, because he was, in fact, their leader. And boy, a leader is only an understatement of what he's capable of. When he finally comes into power, and he will come into power, he'll have this whole world eating out of the palm of his hand, if he's not doing so already. He tends to play your children like a deck of cards, so it's literally only a matter of time until they willingly give him the throne. And he has plans, great plans to deal with each and every one of your children. By that time, all of my dearest friends and children will be free to walk on the same ground as yours. We'll even be close enough to visit your own homes and maybe even closer. And no, there's not going to be any barriers of kind. There's not going to be a single law or force to protect you. There's not going to be any prayers, any blessings or any rituals that you think will stop us. We will have our way, and not even your father will be able to do anything about it. We're very much looking forward to becoming well acquainted with all of you. We'll be like one big family. After all, isn't that what we are at the end of the day? You know, even after all we've been through, we never technically got a divorce. And what type of wife would I be if I didn't come home to take care of my loving husband? So don't you worry. I might have been away for a long time, and there might be a couple of things that has changed about me since we last met. But I promise you, after I finish my work, I'll be home soon once again, honey. I'll be home real soon. Sincerely, your first wife, Lilith.